Welcome to Ignite Success with First Coast Women. I'm Snowden McFall, your host, professional speaker, author, and coach. Here you'll meet terrific women who kindle new ideas, spark change, and fire up our community. Today we've got a global focus for you. Joanne Kazmierski of Global Business Logistics will talk to you about business logistics and the Florida Summit. You'll also learn from Karen Miesis what not to do online and how to make your online venture much more successful. And you'll also hear from Sunny Gettinger on her platform for City Council. And I'll share with you the do's and don'ts of networking because that's so important to help your business thrive. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Ignite Success.
Hey, let me tell you about my friend Craig O'Neill. He's the official photographer here at Buzz Media. He specializes in commercial photography for all those kind of needs. Check him out online at CraigO'NeillPhotography.com. And if you're lucky, you get a sweet lid like I have.
In today's Fuel Your Fire segment, we're here with Joanne Kazmierski of Global Business Logistics. Welcome, Joanne.
Hi, Snowden. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Very good. It's a beautiful day out there, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. So tell us about your background. I know you worked at JAXPORT. You have a lot of international trade experience. How did you get into this?
Well, I have a degree in marketing from the University of South Florida, and I worked in Tampa Bay for quite a while. Did some work in the apartment industry, but then I transitioned into transportation. Worked with the Jacksonville Transportation Authority for about 4 years in the early 2000s. And then a great opportunity opened at JAXPORT. So I spent 11 years at the Port Authority.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and I know that you've done lots of things globally with logistics and have done some really amazing service work. You and your daughter, Jessica.
Right.
Jessica has a website called Gifts for Confidence, and you did an amazing project with Ethiopian girls. So could you tell us about that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the scarf I'm wearing today is made by a girl in Ethiopia. Her name is Miskana. She happens to be the daughter of the principal at a school, Satota Learning Center. And the Gifts for Confidence project, I'm big about mentoring girls in the community. Anybody who knows me, I've been with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and then Girl Scouts was one of my biggest assets. And so with that, Jessica, I mentored her, and we did a Girl Scout Gold Award project and took sewing machines and supplies over to Africa and started a sewing program. And from there, Jessica is now at Florida State University, graduating in May.
Wow.
And she started her nonprofit 2 years ago, Gifts for Confidence. So now she has 20-some girls in the sewing program, and she's heading back Monday.
So what that has done is lift girls out of poverty. I mean, one of the biggest issues in Africa is that if girls don't pass a certain exam, they can end up on the streets and in prostitution.
Right.
And this has given them sustainable income and liberated them from that kind of a future. Is that right?
Definitely. And Jessica got that from day one. You know, one of the things in the Girl Scout law was to make the world a better place. And that was her whole inspiration about going to Ethiopia. And I was happy to be the mom mentor behind her to see it come to fruition.
Which is wonderful. And these are the kinds of scarves. So you can get that at giftsforconfidence.com. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's terrific. So I know that you've just been involved with a supply chain event. Tell us about that.
Definitely. I actually, one of my positions is with the University of South Florida, which was my alma mater. They have a Center for Supply Chain Management and Sustainability, and they knew about me through JAXPORT and my statewide presence that I had when I was with the port, and they hired me to run the first inaugural supply chain summit for the state of Florida.
Wow.
So it was just a week ago at Disney's Contemporary Resort, and brought together, it was a business-to-business summit, if you will, and brought together economic partners as well as the businesses, educators. We had 8 universities involved, and students from all over the state. So it was really a wonderful experience of seeing business happen.
And do you think that's going to end up being an annual event?
We're hoping so. We have a statewide steering committee of about 30 people throughout the state, and we'll be meeting within the next 2 weeks. And so at that point, we'll be determining the next date and location.
So I think there are a lot of people out there who don't really understand what global logistics involves. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Okay, so when I left the port, I did an assessment of my skill sets, if you will. And so when I thought about people really don't understand logistics and supply chain and really the making of the networking that happens there. And a lot of it is business to business and a lot of business coaching, if you will, and just basically having an understanding of not only the local community, the state, the nation, and the world. You have cultural variances, you have different taxes, you have all the technical ease that you need to really do business abroad. And so one of the things that I do is through my network that I created through community relations at JAXPORT, bring people together, and all in the name of business globally.
So I know that when you were doing, for example, the Girls for Confidence project, that required you to be in touch with a vendor who is providing books to Ethiopia.
So what we did, that was the inspiration of what got us to Ethiopia. There's a local nonprofit, another one called Love for Ethiopia, and they collected 5,000 books. And when I was with at JAXPORT, they approached me through my role at JAXPORT to say, how do we get these books to Ethiopia? And we actually, through all the resources, we tried to get it through JAXPORT, but JAXPORT didn't have a direct line. But we found taking the shipment to Atlanta by bringing filling a container from somebody from Utah. We actually did half and half a container and shared it, and it went out, I think, through Savannah and then over a long way to Ethiopia.
And so that's how you got your sewing machines and all the equipment, all the fabric and everything else.
Well,
there too?
Interesting enough, the books were one asset, which was a library that was created, but Jessica's project and her business is really sewing. We actually took all the sewing machines and suitcases.
Yourself?
Yes,
by
we
plane.
did.
Wow.
We did. And
yeah.
you're allowed 50 pounds per suitcase, so we split it up among 6. And we took all the supplies over.
Wow.
We only got stopped at the airport on one, and it was an additional $150 they made us pay. But everyone else made it through clear.
Wonderful. So how can people find out more about your business?
So basically right now, my business model is that I am my own consultant. And so the best way is to find me on LinkedIn, social media. My email is joannek@globalbusinesslogistics.com. And basically any social media, I'm there. So just look me up, inbox me. If you know my phone number, text me, and we'll go from there.
Thanks so much for being with us, Joanne. Coming up next is our Success Sparks.
Are you looking for a new employment opportunity, an employee opportunity, a company vehicle, paid holidays and vacations, a retirement plan? Please visit jaxhandymanjobs.com. That's jaxhandymanjobs.com to learn more and apply.
So for our Blazing Trails segment today, we have Karen Miesis of the Chem Group. Karen, you are an international success story, a female entrepreneur who's done great things. And I know you started your career in Puerto Rico running a $35 million construction company.
That is correct.
$35 million construction company, folks. She was president of this company.
Yes, and I was less than 30 years old, and I took on a big challenge. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was, I think, the best experience when you take on a risk or scare and just figuring out on the way and then making it.
And you've been in Florida for how long now?
12 years.
12 years. And I know you've had your successful company, Chem Group, where you've consulted with big corporations and done all sorts of work with people like PricewaterhouseCoopers and a number of other companies. But now you've turned to entrepreneurs.
Yes, I have done that because I had to do that for myself when my little one, that is 7 years old now, was 5 months, because I had my office, I had employees, I had 25 people reporting to me, and I didn't have a life.
Right.
And it ached my heart that I needed to delegate my kids. So I started to change the way that I did business so that I could be more time with them and be present with them, not with my mind somewhere else. And in that process, like 2 years in, people started asking me, how do you do it? How can you do all that you do, writing books, launching new products, and being with the kids? Because on social media, almost all the pictures are me and the kids.
Right.
Like they are my stickers. And I felt this calling to help other parents transform their businesses in a way that they don't have to sacrifice memories. And it's all about being productive and letting go.
So, I mean, this is really exciting, and I know a lot of women struggle with the whole work-life balance, having been in corporate America, and then you've made a shift so that you could work from home and help other female entrepreneurs with what they do. I know one of the premises that you start with in productivity is decluttering. Can you speak to that?
Yes, decluttering is so important, especially for women. We want to do it all. We have the pressure that we have to show up more for things to be validated, but it's so important to start letting go and decluttering a lot of unnecessary tasks. That is what is going to make room for real impact.
And so is that delegating? Is that deciding not to do those tasks? Is that finding somebody else to do them? How do you handle that?
It is a combination of first looking at everything, doing an inventory of everything that we have on our plate, and then decided, is this really necessary? And yes, purging a lot of stuff, which is always surprising to many people. Yes, there's so many things that we don't have to do.
Right.
Then delegating, asking for help.
Yes.
Asking for help is so big, especially in overachieving women like myself.
That's right.
Like that has been the biggest challenge for myself, is to ask for help. Even bartering for help is important.
You know, it's funny, I did a segment a couple of weeks ago on the show all about asking for help, because I think it's the thing that women are really challenged with the most. They don't ask for help and they need it. And so what would you say is your biggest advice for women? Because I know you work a lot with online business success. You've had a fitness business and you've done very well with that, and you've helped other women with their online businesses. What are the biggest mistakes that women make in their online businesses?
The biggest is worrying about the followers and growing your platform and believing that you have to be there first and all the time. It is a waste of time if you are not growing your list and the real contacts.
Right.
That is the most important thing, is that you know, how are you going to solve the problem? What is it that is going to be your offer?
Right.
Your offer. Once you know what is your offer, then you can start mapping a customer journey, and social media will support that. No doubt about it. But if you don't know what is the clear path for your customer, to where is it from when they meet you to when they work with you, what is the journey look like, it's really hard, and it can be a time waster.
So that's one of the first things you counsel them on, is how to get there. What is their offer? What value do they have to deliver to others?
That is correct. And knowing your numbers. Profitability is very, very important, and knowing how are you going to make your numbers work. It doesn't matter how passionate you are about something. A business is a business.
Right. Well, that's how you ran a $35 million company. I know that you have a financial background, so you pay a lot of attention to that. So you also have contributed recently to a new book called Dear Time, Are You on My Side? Is that right?
Yes, yes.
And when is that due to come out?
It is due to come out at the end of February.
Okay,
It
great.
is on pre-sale now. I'm very excited because this is close to my heart, close to my passion, and also because of all the stories and the women that I met in the process.
And so how can people reach you, Kerem?
Everybody can reach me to my website, keremmieses.com, and any way that you can contact me there, it's right there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Coming up next is our Keep Your Fire Burning segment.
Hey, let me tell you about my friend Craig O'Neill. He's the official photographer here at Buzz Media. He specializes in commercial photography for all those kind of needs. Check him out online at CraigO'NeillPhotography.com. And if you're lucky, you get a sweet lid like I have.
In Success Sparks, we have Sunny Gettinger, who is running for City Council. Welcome, Sunny.
Thank you.
And I just saw you recently at the Teach for America event, where we were so impressed by all the kids there and all their performances and the DJ and the incredible work that teachers have done. I know your husband has long been involved in education here.
Yeah, we moved here because my husband was coming to help establish and found the Jacksonville Public Education Fund. And he actually is a Teach for America alum from Houston.
Right.
And so we have a lot of love for that organization, and I think they do really incredible work, both inside the classroom and in building advocacy for education across the community.
We just had Rachel Tutwiler Fortune on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So, so I couldn't agree
well.
with you. Yeah. So tell us, so I know you were originally born and raised in the South. Whereabouts?
So I was born in Missouri, but we moved to Madisonville, Tennessee, which is about 40 miles south of Knoxville in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains when I was 2. And so that's really where I'm from, is Madisonville. My family still lives there, and it's a small town of about 3,500. And our claim to fame currently is Benton's Bacon.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, we're very proud of our bacon.
Okay. So bacon's big down here with the Bacon Festival and everything else.
You can get it at Black Sheep, actually. You can get Benton's Bacon at Black Sheep.
Oh, well, how about that? So how many kids do you have?
I have 2. Court, who is 7 and is a second grader at West Riverside Elementary School in Riverside, and Max, who's 4, and will hopefully be there next year as a kindergartner.
So why are you running for City Council?
Well, honestly, I've always been involved with my community. My parents were family physicians, and when we moved, I think that they thought they would be in Madisonville. My mom was a member of the Medical Health Service Corps. I think she thought it would be a sort of quick do her time, but when they got there, they just saw the need, and they built a practice that was reflected to try to address the needs of the community. And that was always how I was taught that you should be. That's what it meant to be a part of a community, is that you go, you see where you can be useful, and you get to work. And so that's what I've tried to do in Jacksonville. I've volunteered with a lot of organizations, the Arts Market, RAP, the Early Learning Coalition, PTA.
That's good. So you come with a real service consciousness.
Right. And so I also have been with Google for the last 12 years, so including some time trying to bring Google Fiber here. And so I got a sort of inside look on where we were on infrastructure and permitting. And after the storms, after Irma especially, I really thought I would see us take action on some of those long-term infrastructure issues, dealing with our flooding and drainage issues, getting folks off septic, and undergrounding our electrics. And I just didn't see the action that I wanted to see. And so I'm running for City Council because I think we need to be thinking about the next 40 years rather than the next 4.
So you're coming at this really from a long-term vision for the city.
Yeah, I'd like to see us be a lot more strategic about how we're using taxpayer dollars, and also more creative about how we fund these large infrastructure projects, because large infrastructure projects can bring jobs, they increase property values. There's a lot of good to them, not just that's beyond the price tag.
So does that mean you see City Council working even more closely with things like Jax USA in partnership on bringing in new business and industry, or?
Well, I think Jax USA does a really great job.
They do.
And I think that the City Council has been very focused on helping us build that. So I don't know that it's necessarily more. I think it's more of a focus on where we are as a city and what do we need to do to build a stronger city, Jacksonville, from the ground up. You know, downtown is awesome. We definitely need to invest in downtown, but we also need to be investing in our neighborhoods and making sure that wherever you live in Jacksonville, you're seeing opportunity and success and growth. And I want to make sure that we're doing both of those things.
And so when you look at what you've seen happen in the years that you've been in Jacksonville, what do you think has been the biggest change so far, and what would you like to see?
So we've been here almost 10 years. I think that there really is, the schools are continuing to improve. We have a really incredible school system. One of the things that I would love to see is for our City Council and our leaders to be more of an ambassador for our public schools. I'm a very proud public school parent, and I know we have work to do. We always can do better for our kids, always. You should never be content with where you are on education, but I do think that that's one change.
They've made so much progress.
Yes, so much.
So much progress. It's amazing.
And then your next question, I'm sorry, I missed the last.
And so the change that you'd like to see in the future.
Well, and I think I would like to just see us being a little more strategic about what we want in the long term. I get a lot of questions like, how do we get more tourists to Jacksonville? And I think we have a little bit of an inferiority complex that we don't need. Jacksonville's incredible.
Right.
I'm a Jacksonvillian by choice.
Right.
I choose to live here. I love the city, and I want it to be I want it to fulfill all of the potential that it has. And so I'd love to see us focus on what do we want as a community? What are the things that we need to make sure that we're meeting the needs and the desires of our residents? And I think that if we do that effectively, people will come.
So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, I'm very easy to find these days. I have a website, votesunny.com.
Okay.
You can also reach me on Facebook, also Vote Sunny, or on Twitter, which is just Sunny Gettinger, or they can reach me at sunny@votesunny.com if they want to email me.
Terrific. And what part of the city are you representing?
Oh, excellent point. I'm running for City Council in District 14. That runs from the Fuller Warren Bridge down to the Buckman and cuts a hard right. And so it's the entire western border of the St. John's and Argyle Forest.
Well, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next is our Keep Your Fire Burning segment.
Are you looking for a new employment opportunity, an employee opportunity, a company vehicle, paid holidays and vacations, a retirement plan? Please visit jackshandymanjobs.com. That's jackshandymanjobs.com to learn more and apply.
Today's Keep Your Fire Burning segment is all about networking. These are the do's and don'ts of networking. Jacksonville is a networking city. You could literally go to a different networking function morning, noon, and night in Jacksonville. And I did just that on Tuesday. And I had two experiences that really reflect the best and the worst of networking. In the evening reception, I saw a woman that I had met a few times before, and she greeted me with great enthusiasm, and we hugged, and she introduced me warmly to her group of associates, and we all exchanged business cards. We chatted about our work, our lives, our families, and it was a wonderful interchange. The next day, I received a LinkedIn message from her, and we chatted back and forth on LinkedIn. I sent her an email, and we're setting up a lunch. That was an ideal networking scenario. My lunch experience was not so much that kind of experience. It was rather negative. I went to a new organization where I had not attended before, and I saw a woman that I had met once before, and I went over and said hello, and I knew we had a shared learning experience, so I asked her about that, and she kind of mumbled something, and then she looked everywhere else. I asked her another question. She wasn't even looking at me, and she clearly made it obvious that she really didn't want to talk to me. So, which of those two women do you think that I want to do business with in the future? Which of those two women do you think I want to refer business to? Networking is all about people, and it's all about relationships. And what happens at networking functions is largely up to you and your attitude. You have to be prepared when you're getting ready to go and network. Find out everything you can about the organization, the people who are there. Look up the board of directors and see if you know anybody, because you can get a board member to introduce you around. You want to be dressed appropriately, and I call it the two-pocket rule. You have one pocket for your business cards and one pocket for their business cards. You want to make sure that you have business cards with you. So often I encounter women who do not have their cards with them, and it's impossible to follow up with them or refer business to them. And you want to come prepared with breath mints or spray. You want to have fresh breath, and you want to have a good smile. Your smile is memorable. Your smile is the gateway for people to talk to you. It welcomes people in. You don't want to sit with your friends when you go to a networking function. And in fact, you shouldn't be sitting at all until everybody else is. You want to talk and you want to mingle, and you want to talk to new people. So how should you approach others, and what's the best way? What's the do of networking? Well, do start by introducing yourself and asking them about their lives and their businesses. You should spend the vast majority of your conversation with good eye contact, a smile, and listening intently to the answers to your questions. Ask them questions about their business. Ask them how they got started in the industry, what they like best about it, what are the coming trends, what would they recommend to people who are interested in getting into the field, and ask them also what is their ideal client prospect. Almost everyone wants to tell you that. Then find out a little bit about them personally. Ask them about their families, about where they want to go on vacation, what they do for fun. And as you finish up the conversation, if they ask you about your business, tell a brief success story and then turn the conversation back to them. Make the conversation all about them. Find out what their needs are and what resources you could offer them and how you could refer business to them. After the conversation, make some notes on the back of their business card or in your phone so that when you follow up with them, you've got good things to reference. And you do want to follow up with them. That's one of the biggest don'ts. Don't just leave it to assume that the person will get in touch with you. Do follow up. And one of the most powerful ways to follow up with them is to write a handwritten note. It almost never happens in today's world, and it's so valuable and memorable. And you pull out your notes about that person and you reference the things that they talked about. Don't make the mistake of trying to get 25 business cards at one event. If you can have 3 or 4 meaningful conversations with people, you will be surprised what can happen. So to keep your fire burning, do follow the do's and don'ts of networking and make sure that you follow up in an appropriate manner.
Hey, let me tell you about my friend Craig O'Neill. He's the official photographer here at Buzz Media. He specializes in commercial photography for all those kind of needs. Check him out online at CraigO'NeillPhotography.com. And if you're lucky, you get a sweet lid like I have.
This is Ignite Success with the Jacksonville Buzz, and you can learn more about all of our guests on jacksonvillebuzz.com. Today we've told you a lot about the global environment for business. Joanne Kazmierski of Global Business Logistics has shared some tips for you. You've learned from Karen Mieses about online success. You've also learned Sunny Gettinger's platform for City Council, and I've shared with you some do's and don'ts of effective networking. This is a show for women, about women, and we love to hear from you. I hope that you'll use the tips and tools we provided for you, make connections with our wonderful guests, and ignite your success.